Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Janie, and today I'm going to be reading the books from my last video where I blindly chose my TBR, and I'm so excited. So let's just get right into it. Okay, let me just prop you up real quick. Sorry about this horrible angle. Okay, so if you don't remember, these are the 4 books that we picked out in the last video. We have If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, Have Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. Well, I think I already kind of have an idea of what books I want to read first. I think I'm kind of in the mood for a romance, so I think we're gonna go with If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan first. I know I've heard so many things about this book and how sad it is and how it's gonna make me cry, and I really hope so, because I feel like I haven't read a book like that in a very long time. So hopefully this lives up to the hype and pulls on my heartstrings, you know? I know this is a reading vlog of the books I randomly picked out, but I think I'm gonna save The Inheritance Games. I'm still gonna read it after the other 3, but I'm gonna save this for last, and I'm gonna do a whole separate reading vlog of reading the entire series, so I'm just not gonna include this one in this video. This is a very famous series and I'm so excited to read it, so I feel like it deserves its own video. With that being said, let's start reading this book. Okay, it's a little bit later and I'm about 30 pages in. So far so good. It is a young adult book, so the writing is definitely young adult. So the story is about Autumn and Finn. Basically, they're childhood best friends, and they kind of lose touch. Then I assume they become friends again, probably more. Right now, it's kind of going through the childhood and giving us a little bit of a glimpse of their relationship and what it was like. So far, the only complaint that I have is that she uses his name a lot, like Finn, but she doesn't say Finn, she says Finny. So it'd be like,
I was just talking to Finny, and then Finny does his thing that he's just, you know, Finny, and everyone loves Finny.
And I'm just like, I don't know why, that's really bugging me. I don't know if that was a common occurrence for anyone else, but that is really annoying in my head. So when I'm reading Finny, I just started saying Finn because it just sounds so much better. So besides that, the story's going good. We're getting in a little bit of a glimpse. She also is she's a quirky girl, and my mind is still open. I'm still enjoying the story. I do like the characters, but it's giving me the same vibes as like in Riverdale when Jughead's like, in case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I'm excited to see how this progresses because everyone has said that this book has torn them apart, so that has to mean something, right? I'll check back in later. It's time for me to go to work, probably when I'm at least like 100 pages in. Okay, it's the next day, and I'm on page 156. There's a couple things I wanted to address. One, I still think it's kind of annoying when she calls him Finny. Like, I get it, but I still think it's a little annoying. 2, I'm definitely starting to like our main character, Autumn, a lot more. She definitely is on the quirkier side. I'm growing to love her. At first I didn't really like the writing style, but now I'm kind of actually starting to like it. I like how it's going through the part of them not really being friends and things being awkward, instead of just like skipping timelines, if that makes sense. Giving the details of what it was like to not be friends and what it was like during that period, instead of just going back and forth from when they're older to when they're kids, which I feel like is more realistic. I'm scared. We know what's gonna happen because of the back, but I still have no idea like how we're gonna get from point A to point B. I literally have no idea. I literally was at work reading this. I was like, I can't not highlight this. It's on page 86 and it says, "And I love him. For all of my memory, I have loved him. I love him in a way I cannot define. As if my love were an organ within my body that I could not live without, yet could not pick out of an anatomy book. And it's impossible to say and even harder to feel. Okay, anyways, I'm just really rooting for them. So I'm really nervous. And I will check back in soon. Also, another little comment I wanted to add was they both have significant others. Finn has a girlfriend, Autumn has a boyfriend, and I'm not sure how I feel about either. They seem good to them in the way that, like, you should expect a boyfriend to be. It's almost like, at least from Autumn's point of view, it's almost like she's like, Jamie's perfect, he's good to me, he's kind, he calls me pretty, so I do love him because he does those things. She doesn't actually feel those things, I feel like, for Jamie. Like, maybe she does a little bit, but she only does because she thinks she should, because that's what you're supposed to do when someone treats you like, well, you can just tell it's like a different kind of love. It's more soulmate kind of love. It just hits you where it hurts. I don't know, especially when they're not together. I don't know if any of that made sense, but I thought I would just add that in there. So I don't know what day it is, honestly. I'm losing it. Great way to start off this clip. Almost done. I'm on page 235, chapter 49, and I'm terrified because I know something bad is gonna happen, and the whole story just kind of makes you forget that something bad is gonna happen. I am gonna finish today, and I'm nervous, so just wish me luck. So I finished the book. I was too distraught to talk about it last night. I need to get myself together. Now we're here the next day and we're collected a little bit. It was really sad, obviously. I mean, I knew it was coming. I mean, I think everyone who's read this book knew it was coming, but the author does an amazing job of making you kind of forget that that's what's gonna happen at the end. The story is just so good, and you get so connected to the characters that at the end you're like hoping that that's not actually what's gonna happen, and there's gonna be a plot twist and things are gonna end up differently, but it doesn't. I fell in love with this book. I wasn't a huge fan of it at first because the writing took a little bit to get used to. I feel like in like a second chance romance, you kind of have the before and after that it switches from, like, in between, and this was the in between. Like, usually it's like how they were before and then 10 years later, and it switches perspectives, but it went through their lives when they just weren't friends and they still thought about each other, and I feel like that's just so much more realistic. I'm so glad I annotated this. I haven't annotated a book in so long, but it was calling my name. This is probably my favorite second chance romance that I've read, and I don't know if it's the masochist in me that likes sad endings in some way because it makes you feel something. You can tell, like, just by the way of Autumn's view on life, you can just tell that a tragic ending for her is inevitable. But I did really, really enjoy this book. I'm gonna give this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I don't know what it was, but it just snuck up on me, and all of a sudden I was just in love with this entire story and with Autumn and Finn, and it was just so good. I think for my next read I'm gonna do Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I'm feeling a little brave. I'm finally just gonna rip the band-aid off and do it and see what I think about it. I'm kind of nervous. I'm just gonna read the synopsis for you because honestly I have no clue what it's about. Frances is a cool-headed and darkly observant young woman. Vaguely pursuing a career in writing while studying in Dublin. Her best friend is the beautiful and endlessly self-possessed Bobby. At a local poetry performance one night, they meet a well-known photographer, and as the girls are then gradually drawn into her world, Frances is reluctantly impressed by the older woman's sophisticated home and handsome husband. But however amusing Frances and Nick's flirtation seems at first, it begins to give way to a strange and then painful intimacy. So I believe it's about some sort of affair, kind of. We'll see. I'm excited. Hopefully I really like it because I'm on a roll right now and I really don't want to be put into a book slump. So I will check back in once I get into it. Also, it's really not that long, so hopefully I'll be able to get through it kind of fast. Okay, so I'm about 50 pages into the book. I forgot how much I liked Sally Rooney's writing, and I also forgot that she doesn't use quotation marks, so that took a second to readjust to. Besides that, I'm really loving it. It is kind of on the slower side, so I understand people's opinions about it being kind of boring. I just forgot how honest Sally Rooney's writing is. Like, she doesn't try to make it something that's not. She never tries to make her stories like this super extravagant, like, love story. They're just so realistic and so brutally honest in the way that like love sometimes is. We haven't even gotten that far into it. Sometimes love isn't like this super amazing lustful thing. Sometimes it is sad, sometimes it is boring. I don't know if any of that made sense. But so far plot wise, the affair is brewing that we read in the synopsis. Some things just happened. Also, another thing about Sally Rooney, I love how she's not afraid to make her narrator or main character unlikable, and you get to hear all the unfiltered like thoughts inside her head that, yeah, everyone has those. And yeah, I feel like if everyone heard anyone else's inner thoughts, nobody would like each other. And everything's just so unfiltered, and she's not trying to make you like this character. She's just kind of laying it out, being like, this is the character and that's just who she is. I would say that I would find her really interesting as a narrator and as a main character. I'm excited to see how this progresses. So I'm about halfway through and I have a couple thoughts that I wanted to share. I'm like so tired today, I don't even have any brain cells, so let me look at my notes and see what I wrote down. So I can understand the opinions of people that don't really like this book because it's kind of slow or boring, but I feel like it's the kind of book where you could read another book at the same time as it. It doesn't mean it's not a good book. I am actually really enjoying it, but it's also a book that's hard to sit down and read for a long period of time. I feel like most of Sally Rooney's books are not very plot driven, they're very character driven, and I feel like plot driven books are more easy to read really fast, since I feel like this is a morning coffee kind of read. Like, you wake up, you read this before you get ready in the morning so you don't go on your phone type of thing, but like it's not one where you sit down and you read it for a long period of time. We've gotten to see a little bit more of Frances and Nick's relationship like progress. I think their relationship is definitely very toxic. Like, they're not good for each other at all. Obviously, they aren't morally because he's married, but this is gonna sound kind of harsh, but I think both of them are just very insecure and very sad people. Why they feel so emotionally attracted to each other or emotionally connected is because they see themselves in each other. That creates definitely a toxic environment because it's kind of enabling each other's behavior. But I think they keep wanting to come back to each other because it's also comforting in a way, and you feel like they understand you in a way that nobody else can. So that's my thoughts on their relationship so far. Bobby, Frances's best friend, I'm not a fan of. I think their friendship, or I think Bobby is just so toxic. She's a horrible friend, but then she does something good You're like, oh, she's being a great friend, but that's why she's a toxic friend. So hopefully I will finish it by the end of the day today or by tomorrow morning. Okay, I have about like 100 pages left, but I just wanted to pop in here and say I fully stand by my statement I said earlier. Bobby is a horrible friend. I just hate her with a passion. I don't know if anyone else felt like this, but she makes me so angry. Like, Frances isn't necessarily a good friend either or necessarily likable. Like, their relationship is just not good. You can clearly see Frances's mental health like going downhill. And Bobby even commented on that and then continues to be a horrible friend. It really angers me. Okay, so I finished the book. Something about the book, maybe it's just because I'm tired today, but I just feel a little empty inside. It touched on a lot of mental health things that I was not expecting. It was very raw. It definitely was not trying to make that aspect glamorized or romanticized whatsoever. Some stuff that ended up happening with her friend Bobby at the end, I was not a fan of. I do not like Bobby at all. If you've read this book, please comment and tell me if you also felt the same. Overall, I really liked the book. I forgot how much I actually do like Sally Rooney's writing. I don't know why. I just get so nervous about reading her books because everyone always says they're too boring. I always just feel so connected to it, even though I'm not connected to the story. I'm sorry for the construction noises. I'm gonna give this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's not my all-time favorite, but it definitely is a book that stood out to me. I'm honestly kind of nervous that it's gonna put me in a slump, but not in the way that I expected. I thought it would put me in a slump because I would think it was boring, but I think it's gonna put me in a slump because I'm still like thinking about it and still contemplating this book and how it made me feel. So that's what I have to say so far on this, and if I do have any more revelations, I'll include them in my January wrap up. I definitely am gonna take a break for a while. I don't think I'm gonna read for the rest of the day today. Let me get our next book. So the next book we're gonna be reading, If We Were Villains by ML Rio. It's definitely gonna be a switch up of the vibes from Conversations with Friends to this. But I'm excited because maybe I need something that's not gonna depress me. If I didn't pick this in my last video, I don't think I would have picked this up to read it for a long time. So I am glad that I picked it in the last video so that I can get it off my TBR because my TBR is piling up. But I will check back in once I start this one. Okay, I just started reading the book about 0.2 seconds ago. I haven't even started reading it. Actually, I haven't read the first word. But I just wanted to say, the writing is so small. I can't even read that without my glasses on. So next day, just wanted to say that I am starting the book. I'm so tired still. Should be good. Should be good. So I'll check back in a little bit. I'm not even kidding you. Construction in my neighborhood has been quiet all day, and the second I pick up my camera, so we're gonna try to get through this without all the noise in the background, but it's not guaranteed. So essentially I'm on page like 70, I think. Here's my first little update. When I first started it, I had a really long day and I was super exhausted, so I was reading it and the words literally were not computing in my brain. Like, they, in one ear and out the other. When I first started it, I was like, I feel like this is gonna put me in a slump. I feel like I'm not gonna like this book. But then I was like, I'm just gonna put it down and give myself a breather, and I'm so glad I did that because I picked it up today and I'm really liking it. Haven't really been able to put it down since, so that's good. I feel like I'm already invested in all of the characters, like individually. I care about what's gonna happen to them. There's tension brewing. Nothing crazy's happened, like they've all been pretty good friends so far, but there are some incidents that's happened that the narrator is like, has pointed out that is out of the ordinary. They're definitely making it known that something's a brewing, you know? But that is all that I have for now, and I will check back in with you guys soon. Hi guys. If you're wondering where I am, I'm at my grandma's house, so I'm out of town right now, but I wasn't gonna do a check-in, but I'm almost done, so I probably won't do another one until after I finish the book, so I thought might as well. I don't even know where to start. I haven't even talked that much about the book. I guess I'll just start by saying I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a great time. The students are still kind of trying to convince each other that none of them did it. We found out who died. We know what happened or how they were found, but we still don't know if one of the other students killed them. We also don't know how Oliver ended up taking the fall for everything. I'm on page 244. They just have a special place in my heart now, I feel like. I love all the characters in this. I just feel like I am a part of their friend group. I love Oliver. He's just such a good guy. He's just described as like the nice guy, like he'll forever be the sidekick, you know? That's literally a word they use multiple times, is nice. Like that's just what they describe him as, and how the friend group describes him as. He is just the nice guy. Either he actually did it and we just have no idea yet, or he is gonna take the fall for everyone else. I love him either way. And we kind of just found something out. I've been getting little inklings about Oliver. I'm not gonna say anything, but my suspicions have been confirmed. So I'll check back in when I finish. I finished the book. You could say the ending I mentally was not prepared for, especially after reading 2 other books that got me good in the heart, you know? Let me just start by saying I did not expect to feel so connected to the characters and to the story and really care about it that much, but I absolutely love this book. The ending I really liked, but it also kind of left a black hole in my heart a little bit. I don't know. If We Were Villains by ML Rio, I am going to give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I love it even more because it caught me by surprise. I didn't think I was gonna like it this much, so I didn't have high expectations, so it really just blew me out of the water. It was a lot less like murder mystery than I thought it was gonna be, which I ended up really liking it that way. And I definitely had my suspicions of who did what towards the end, and I guessed it correctly, but I just didn't understand or grasp what was gonna happen, or just like how it would make me feel. There wasn't too much Shakespeare to where I got confused or didn't understand the plot or what was going on. This whole Shakespeare aspect is so important to their group dynamic and each of the characters individually. That is definitely necessary to have those bits and pieces in it. So that's all I have to say on that one. So that is gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys are enjoying all the videos that I'm putting out. If you have any suggestions for videos you want to see or books that you want me to read, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting me, and I will see you guys very soon.